We can't pretend that the coronavirus is not happening and simply ignore it in our messaging. If you simply ignore it in your messaging, you will sound callous and people will not resonate with you. People understand and are affected by the things happening around them. Welcome to the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast, where being a badass has less to do with what you wear and what music you listen to, and everything to do with whether you've got the thriving online business of your dreams. I'm your renegade thinking Harvard Law grad turned online entrepreneur host, Bobby Klink. In my years building my thriving business, the most important lesson I've learned is that being a badass online marketer isn't about secret strategies or ninja tactics. It's about doing the basic stuff right and showing the F up. So each week here on the show, you'll get clear, easy to execute guidance on how to build your online business and a swift kick in the ass or two to make sure you're getting it done. Hey there, welcome to episode 148 of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Klink. And today's episode is going to dive into a really important topic. Specifically, we're going to be talking about how to message during the pandemic we're dealing with right now. Look, this is a topic that I know a lot of people are struggling with. I've heard entrepreneurs ask and not sure what they should be doing. And so I wanted to tackle it, and I wanted to tackle it head on. Because look, focusing on growing your business is actually important in light of what's going on. Now, you know that I'm not one to skirt around an issue, so I'm just going to come out and be honest with you. A lot of entrepreneurs, maybe even you, are concerned about what the future holds, and so they're not sure how they can go about kind of building a business in these times. And there's a lot of pieces to it, and I can't possibly deal with all of it in one episode. But here's my general take on it. The best thing we can do outside of following the advice of the medical and public health professionals who are still telling us to socially distance is to commit ourselves to keeping on with our businesses, but to not pretend it's business as usual, and instead to focus on messaging the right way in light of the coronavirus. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. Before I get to the episode, though, this episode is brought to you by the Grow Your Business Bundle from Ultimate Bundles. This is the first time that Ultimate Bundles has put out a business growth bundle. And even though it's been planned for months, it really is kind of perfect timing for entrepreneurs who are looking for some extra support during these uncertain times. The bundle addresses important topics like branding, content creation, marketing, optimizing ads, traffic and lead generation, and tons more. You're going to get expertise from various niches of really experienced people, including Mike Michalowicz, who's the author of Profit First and Run Like Clockwork. I had him on the podcast before. Dan Miller, who's the author of 48 Days to the Work You Love. Ray Edwards, who's an expert copywriter coach and author of kind of one of my favorite copywriting books, How to Write Copy That Sells. And it's also got resources from me. Yep, that's right. You'll find some of my best list building resources and email marketing resources inside the bundle, which will help you to build your list and nurture your leads into kind of red hot buyers. So if you're interested to learn more, head over to bobbyklink.com/grow. Again, bobbyklink.com/grow to learn more about the Grow Your Business Bundle. Now, the bundle is only available through April 6th, so it's only going to be good kind of if you're listening to this at the time it comes out or soon afterwards. But if so, definitely go check it out at bobbyklink.com/grow. Now, with that, let's get to today's episode. Today's episode is about how do you create the right messaging for your business in light of the coronavirus. And this really has been a hot topic. And in last Friday's episode, I talked about, kind of you got two choices. You can hide or you can, keep building your business. And I said, really, you only have one choice. You got to keep building your business. And that was kind of the first piece of content, the first episode I wanted to do about coronavirus, because I wanted you to get your mind right. I wanted you to get your mindset in the concept of I've got to keep going. I can't just quit. I can't just give up. But today I want to talk a little bit more tactical. And what I mean by that is I want to talk about how you should be thinking about potentially shifting your message in light of coronavirus. And there's a couple of things that you need to be thinking about. But notice maybe how I've shifted my message. I talk about the coronavirus, but I don't dwell on it. I don't necessarily, try to be exploitative of it, etc. And so I think part of what you need to do is figure out a couple of things. Number one, you need to think about, does your business, do your offers, are they something that either is more relevant or less relevant because of the coronavirus? And because many of us are cooped up and will be cooped up in our homes for an extended period of time, or because there's been disruptions. Again, there's all kinds of examples about how you might think about this. If you have a product, for example, that is a hobby product that or related to a hobby, a product, a course, a membership about helping people do a hobby, and it's a hobby that they can do from home and they can get the resources, delivered from the internet or something like that, so they don't have to go out. Well, then your product could be a perfect fit right now. And you could adjust your messaging to talk about how this will help you while away the time while you are inside your house. Similarly, one of my mastermind person in my mastermind with me in James Wedmore's mastermind has a product that is all about disinfecting and cleaning your house. Well, that is a perfect offer right now. And you can imagine how you need to think about that in coming up with your messaging. Now, on the other hand, there are those of us who are in a more general space, like I am. Now, I help people build their online businesses and protect their online businesses. I believe that those things I teach people and help people with, that in a lot of ways, they are even more relevant now than they were before because of the coronavirus. Because, for example, I candidly believe that email marketing is much more important now when we're in a world where we don't know what the future is going to hold for live events, for example, and for networking events. And so you're going to have to get better at connecting with people through the written word. But I don't believe that it's uniquely suited. And so I have to walk a line on how I'm going to kind of bring the subject in without making it sound like I am, suddenly coming out with a coronavirus special, right? Because that kind of thing seems exploitative. If you come out with you suddenly create some, brand new offer that is, really just a money-making ploy, people will smell it and people will see through it. And your messaging, if you took an existing product and suddenly we're talking about it as the coronavirus cure or the most important thing now because of this, that's, people are going to smell through that. And so you can't go that route. So you have to walk the line, but at the same time, you can't ignore it. We can't pretend that the coronavirus is not happening and simply ignore it in our messaging. If you simply ignore it in your messaging, you will sound callous and people will not resonate with you. People understand and are affected by the things happening around them. Now, again, I am not suggesting that you should spend time over and over again kind of sulking or dwelling in the negative, because people also don't want that. People don't want to be, told constantly about how horrible things are. They're hearing that already. So if your marketing, is all dwelling about that, that's going to be a problem. Separately, just from a tactical standpoint, if your messaging talks about how the world is coming to an end, unless you're, selling things to help preppers, you're basically telling people don't buy from me because things are going to get really bad. So you don't want to go there. And so you have to walk this line of talking about it in a genuine, authentic way. Another piece of this, though, is that you have to understand what your personal voice is and how you're going to address it. What I mean by that is that you have to think, what is your brand culture, your values, the persona that your brand has with your audience, etc. Me, for example, I have a persona, which is my actual personality, of being wacky, of making light of things, of making jokes, even about things that maybe are a bit inappropriate. And so if you think about it, given that that's what my audience has come to expect from me, it would be quite strange if I suddenly was just talking about this in a very sober way without making jokes. For example, when things really started to kind of go haywire, I was in the middle of a promotion where I was promoting my new email marketing program, Badass Email Marketing, which people got if they did signed up for an annual membership of my Fans First Society. And I did webinar trainings. And I had a slide. One of the keys that I was teaching people is that email is about building connections. It's not about like blasting content out. It's about building connections. And so my picture on that slide was a picture of a man and a woman apparently on a date, clinking glasses, but wearing surgical masks. And I made a joke of something like this. I said, in a world where this is what dating looks like, finding ways to connect from afar is especially important. Now, you can see how, because that is my style, that is my voice, that's what my audience has come to expect from me. And again, what I'll tell you is, some people may find that insensitive. And if you're one of those people, I apologize that if I have offended you, but you need to understand that's the way that I process things. That's the way I deal with things. And so I'm not going to change that, because the reality is that a lot of the people in my audience, that's what they want from me. That's what they've come to expect. And it's in a lot of ways the way I can serve them best is to make them laugh, to give them a chuckle, give them a smile. And so I want you to think about how you personally, your personality, your brand style, your brand persona, how do those things come together with messaging that is specific to the coronavirus? And when you think about that, that's kind of what you have to do. And I'm sorry that I can't give you some, immediate prescription that says do this and do that and don't do this and don't do that. I simply can't, because there's no way that I could, give a single prescription that would apply to everyone. What I can tell you is here's some general rules. Number one, you can't simply ignore it. Number two, you can't exploit it and come off as exploitative, meaning, suddenly trying to make everything about the coronavirus and trying to come up with tenuous ways where it means that people should buy from you. And number three, you need to talk about it in your own voice and from your own perspective. And when you kind of come up and apply those three rules, you will have your messaging dialed in. And what I will tell you is that right about now, people are looking for leadership. They're looking for leadership from all kinds of places, and you are a leader to your crowd, to your community. And so they want to see you lead the way in these times. And so what I'm telling you is you have to talk about it, and you have to talk about it as you. Do those things and you'll be in much better shape. So that's it for this episode. Again, I just wanted to talk about how this, you need to be talking about these things and get you thinking and start the process in your mind. If you want to talk about this more, I would love to talk to you on Instagram. You can find me at Bobby Klink. in my group, the Badass Online Marketing Facebook group, or just on Facebook, I'm Bobby Klink. You can find me all of those places. And we can have these conversations and we can go deeper on these things because I'd like to have a conversation with you. And I'm happy to get feedback and really hear from you about what you're thinking. So that's my call to action for you today. Put together your personal, your personal messaging that works for you and be consistent about it. And don't be afraid to actually put that to use. That's it for this episode. I'll see you again on Tuesday. That's it for this episode of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. Make sure to tune in next time. And in the meantime, go out and build the badass business of your dreams.